Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to another conversation of the Afro Social Workers Forum. And my name is Vera Sampon. I'm the host, and my colleague will be joining me shortly, Batimona Abeke. Today, we're having the conversation from the palace to the world. Meghan and Baby Archie suffered racism, and Harry was discriminated upon. The question you will be asking is, what has that got to do with us, Black people, with us, Afro social workers, and with us as a community? And of course, what has that got to do with a woman that is in a position of authority? Do they, royals, really take Meghan serious? And how can we overcome such gross forms of racism and discrimination? This week, the world celebrates the International Racism Day, which is going to be on the 21st of this month, and many organizations worldwide are, of course, using this week to talk about very sensitive conversations like the conversation of racism and discrimination. So I invite you, ladies and gentlemen, to join us in this conversation today, and let's find possible ways to be able to solve this monster disease. Welcome with me, my colleague Batimona Abeke. Ma'am, you're welcome to the program today. And this week we are having the conversation on racism all over the world. And then it is again this particular week that we are hearing the conversation of Meghan, Harry, and Oprah. And we saw a gross form of racism and discrimination. And I kept wondering, how could the royals ask the question, what color would the child Archie baby have? And that had to determine if he would carry the title of a prince, or again, even at all, the titles of the royals. Ma'am, you're welcome to the program today, Afro Social Workers Forum. Please tell us more about who you are, your organization, and why the Afro Social Workers Forum is so essential for the community. This is your platform.
Thank you very much, Vera. Thank you very much, our viewers. Thank you very much for having me this evening once again to talk about the issues that are affecting us and our society. My name is Batemona Beke. I am in Cologne, and I'm a social worker and a trauma consultant. And I am here to represent my organization, Promoter Africa, that is here in Cologne to do trainings, to do sensibilizations work regarding racism and discrimination. And we are also working with the youth and offering different families the family support they need in this country. Basically, we are there to uplift the people of African descent and also to work with partner organizations and the Germans that are also working with people of African descent. Now, the question is, what does Meghan has to do with our social work? What does this topic that is now reigning since 3 weeks have to do with our work? Yes, this topic has to do with our work because we are Black people, and Meghan has faced what he faced, or was treated the way he was treated, because he is a Black woman in the royal office. And it is not usual for Black people to be in the palace. So this is why we are talking, because when anyone listening to the interviews of Meghan when she spoke to Oprah together with Ali, tears are shedding down, because Meghan can be any Black woman out there in the world. And because this week is about International Week Against Racism and Discrimination, we decided to table this topic, to bring it, because for me, for my colleague, for us social workers, the palace is representing the institutions that we are living in here. The palace is representing the organizations and the structures that we find ourselves. The palace are lawmakers. the palace and governing. And so we can actually relate from one to one. What took place with Meghan can occur to any Black person, Black woman, Black man, Black child in this country. Now, there are so many things that we can talk about, and I hope we are going to talk about them today, because there is the story of trauma. There is the conversation of a child being Black. There is a conversation of a child, of people having concerns about the color of an unborn baby. There is the talks revolving the child not being given a title because of is too dark to get this title. There is the conversation of Meghan thinking of suicide. There is an history, there is a pattern that is reoccurring in this palace, in this royal family. There is an history of Princess Diana dying mysteriously. There is a story of Diana's life while in the Paris that came out. There is a story of these two boys, Harry and William, when they were young. Whoever has been following this family story with passion like I do, because Diana was a philanthropist just like I do, knows that these children did not have a normal childhood, even if they are lawyers. So there are a lot of conversations, there are a lot of things that we have to talk about. And if you agree with me, there are a lot of things that we can relate one to one with ourselves here in this country. And then there is that story of courage of Meghan making a decision not to want to live in the UK anymore and wanting to go back to the US where she felt safe. That's also another conversation. There is a conversation of Harry making a decision, I will follow my wife and son wherever they go, and breaking the traditions and breaking bringing in chaos as they may think in the royal family, but liberating and standing by the wife in all times. So there are a lot of conversations that are very interesting that we can really talk every Tuesday. And I really think that we are going to venture into this talk very properly today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. I like the conversation, and I am not the follower of some of these amazing, great people because of lack of time, but I somehow heard the conversation, and what triggered me, there's this trigger word. You are from the trauma world, and you understand what trigger is, and there was this word that triggered me when I heard Oprah ask Megan the question of the baby, the color of the baby. And you could see from the eyes of Megan that she was really not comfortable with that kind of conversation that took place. And the conversation was on their baby and how the color would be. And because of the color of the child, it would have determined if the child would be even called a prince and get security for that princeship. Ma'am, how do we relate this kind of racism with us today? One, is there really racism there? And if yes, what kind of racism is involved right now in this process?
So to start with, I want to say that one thing that baffled me was when this lady, Meghan, managed to speak to Oprah and managed to speak to the world and communicate what she's been going through in this royal palace. And she said, I was treated nasty. I was treated bad because I'm a Black woman. And she called it racism. The next day, we are hearing, the journalists, we are hearing stories from the lawyer Paris saying that we are not a racist family. There is a law that has to be taken into consideration by every white person that may be watching or that one day is going to watch this program. Take the statements of somebody who has faced racism serious. It is not your job to think if to categorize it or to ask yourself, is this racism or that was not racism? That is not your work. If somebody who has faced racism says that was racism, you just have to accept it and say, yes, it is racism, and do something to it. It is not your job, or it is not supportive to keep on analyzing it the way the Boulevard, the way the journalist, the way, I don't know, I don't live in UK, but I'm just reading things. It is not right to spend time trying to find out whether it was true or not. What needs to be done is a Black person has said, hey, in this palace, I faced racism. I became depressive to an extent that I didn't want to live anymore. Now, the advice is to any royal person that may come through this our program any day, take what this woman said serious and do something. Go back and check your structures. Go and check where Meghan could have been treated nastily. If you just say we are not a racist family, you are denying and you're living in denial, and you know, just as Harry said, that you are a prisoner. William, you are a prisoner where you are. Harry has managed to rescue himself out through the assistance of Meghan. And thanks God there was an America to go to. What about if there was no America? What about if Meghan was in Britain and living in England? Where would they have gone to? Where would they have gone as a safe space for them? I actually congratulate Prince Harry for taking the decision and taking this tough decision to follow his wife. You know, like wherever you go, I will go. Your people shall be your people. This was excellent, and I removed my heart for this young man called Harry to expose himself to the kind of insult, to the kind of disrespect that he's getting from everyone, to break the barriers, to break the silence of suffering as a royal, and come out and say, I will go. This is wonderful. And we need, me and you, my viewer out there, it is time that we free ourselves from this slavery of being in the royal palace. Royal palace, we can compare it like institutions where we work, like in the families where we are married, families that are racist, that are not accepting us, schools where our children are. It is time we break the silence and take a decision like Meghan did and like Harry also did. And
It takes a lot. It takes a lot of courage, ma'am, to break out from this yoke, and it takes a lot of strength. So, like you said, I really admired when I saw and I read that during this difficult time, Harry really followed his wife and said, "Hey, he didn't want the same thing that happened to his mother, Diana, to happen to his family and to his wife." And that takes us back to the history very long time ago. What actually happened? You have been following the royal family, and you said she used to be a role model to you because of how social work she did in the community. What was there a scenario of racism in or again discrimination that Diana faced?
Actually, I started following this family when I was a young girl. It's been years, and the story interests me till today. Because just in a nutshell, Vera, because you say you've not been following, so you don't know anything about this family, I'm going to narrate to you something about this family. Now everyone knows Queen Elizabeth and the husband, and that she had some children, and one of these sons is called Prince Charles, and Charles was the husband to Diana. Now, how did Charles come to meet Diana? Lady D, or like Lady Diana, as she used to be called, Diana Spencer, Lady Diana Spencer, she comes from a conservative family, but a well brought up family, a neighborhood of the palace. So, like it is, the queen or the royals, they look for an obedient girl that would fit the description of a future princess. She was working in kindergarten. She was teaching small children in kindergarten when they spotted each other, or when she was spotted and recommended for Charles. Now, Charles really did not love Diana. He was just out for his, I don't know, in German we say Abenteuer, for his
Adventure.
Rachel, right? Rachel.
Adventure.
He was just adventuring, and he had his lover. He had Camilla. And remember, Camilla was a married woman at that time. But Charles fell in love with Camilla. But as a lawyer, it is unheard of to fall in love with a married woman, and a woman who is, in this case, not a virgin. You know, there are a lot of stories. That's why it's with a lot of excitement for me to tell this story that I know. Now, Diana was potent. She's a virgin. Everyone knows. I mean, the royal Paris have been monitoring her, and they know everything about her. And they thought she fits to be a daughter-in-law of a queen. So this is simply what happened, that they were put together and they got married. Even the day of marriage, there was no excitement really. And Charles continued with the mistress. He continued with Camilla because they were doing it in hiding. Until one day, and Diana knew, as a young newlywed, she knew that something is not right. But who is she to say that I don't want to be with this prince? You know, this is now the story of women, the way they grow in oppression, the way they are prepared for men. It's a story to elevate women, empowerment for women. So they got married. They got these two children, William and Harry. And already at a very tiny age, it was clear that the marriage is not working. So Diana was more or less alone with the children. She was more or less a single mom in this case, but still married to Charles and living in the palace. So Diana one day, because she couldn't stomach it anymore, she exploded to Charles. And Charles admitted that he is having a relationship with Camilla and is not ready to leave Camilla. And she has to take it like this, the way it is. So she seemed like this. There were conversations in the lawyer, and Diana now started making issues out of it, which is correct. And this is now when the queen came in and organized for a divorce to take place. So Diana was divorced, but she has to remain in the palace because there were conversations of if she is divorced and she goes, then she's not allowed to take the future Prince William and Ali, because Queen Elizabeth had then to adopt this future queen, that the future king or prince of this country. So the children have to be protected by their grandmother because the mom is not a royal anymore in this case. So this is what continued.
A lot of things happening there.
A lot of things. So Diana had to have times when she would come and visit the children. She's still in the palace, but she didn't have any say about the children anymore, more or less. And this is now when Diana started doing social work. She started traveling. She started doing social work in UK. She started going to Angola where there are mines. She was going places, being an advocate of HIV children and people. She really gave now all her life to philanthropist work because her marriage has failed so that she can fulfill herself. And this is where now I trapped her. This is what attracted me about this woman.
Okay.
Cut the story short because of our time. she fell now in love with the Egyptian Dodil. And this
Another black man.
another black man.
Oh, now a black man comes again in play.
The story is coming back. And it was in one of her holidays when she went to France. She was not alone, she was with this black man. And the story was spreading around that she could be even pregnant, expecting a child from this black man. So bringing another black person in the history
into the White Palace.
You know,
into the White Palace.
Those are just stories. Whether it is true or not, we don't know. But the fact remains that she was dating this millionaire's son from Egypt, who lived in UK, of course. But he's Egyptian, so he has a black. The conversation of this color come again. So this is now what happened when the paparazzis, and then what happened is Diana was more famous than Charles because of her work, because of her smile, because of the things she was doing, and because of how authentic she was in everything. Charles was fake from the beginning. Back to our fake conversation. He was fake. He was a cheater. He was boring. He was not there for the conjugal rights. So this Diana was lonely as young as she was.
But ma'am, was she obliged to marry this man? Could she not say no? This the prince, whatever Charles, could she not say no from the beginning?
No, she cannot say no, just as many women have no say to their parents. And especially when now power comes in question, the Queen of England has spotted her. Who is she to say no?
I see.
That is the issue. Who is she to say no? So she went to this marriage, and she was happy from day one.
So she was trapped.
In fact, they didn't even date. There was no dating. There was no courtship. It was within, 6 months, this woman was married. Very tiny. And she left her work from being a kindergarten teacher to a princess. Which is, I can see it's not a problem, but her heart was not there. Because she had to live a fake life, just as this monastery leads a fake life. There is no happiness in this royal palace. Yes.
Now let's bring it back now to Meghan and baby Archie, and then Oprah asked one question, and when she was talking, and she said she had to be silent, and then Oprah asked her, "Were you silenced or you were silent?"
She was silenced. You can't talk. What do you say? Can you imagine when Oprah asked her a question and she's saying that she was allowed to only be 50% of herself, what she was originally? Only 50%. That means the other 50% has to be cut out.
Or be fake.
To be fake. The 50, you have to be fake. You are just too much. Your 100% is too much. It's just like taking me, the old me, the way I am now, and just telling me, don't never dress again. You are too real. Look at the way we are preparing for this program today. We are talking about a royal topic, so we have to also appear royal. You understand? So Meghan was told to be fake, to reduce herself. She is too extravagant. Extravagant in undressing, extravagant in our way of life, extravagant being a model or being an actor or, being an artist, everything she was. And then she did not even meet the criteria of the royals. She was married and divorced. So
another challenge. This woman came with so many things to like a package.
Yes, she brought a lot of confusion according to the royal family. She was married. She's a divorcee. She is not a virgin to start with. She's not submitting to these people.
But Harry too was never a virgin.
But nobody is talking. Who talks of men being virgins or not?
Okay, ma'am, let's go to for me, the exciting question is how do we come in as social workers to help this kind of royal family? And that's where comes your work. So, how can the work we're doing, the work of a trauma, you are a trauma consultant, you observe the conversation. And so, how does the concept, awareness concept against racism, come in place to be a helping tool to Meghan if she will ever hear this? Or again, to any other black woman in position of authority that is silenced, being silenced, and really do not know what to do, listening to us now, or again may listen to us in the future. The concept of awareness against racism, how can it be supportive to people like this?
So now
Tell us
we,
more about the
yes,
concept.
thank you very much. Now, we as social workers, why we are bringing this topic is because we know there are so many women living in such kind of life like Meghan did. We know there are so many children who are like Archie, like baby Archie, who are not accepted in the families where their mother or their fathers got married to. So there are conversations also of their color. There are conversations of if they can inherit property. There are conversations if they are out for love, genuinely or not. Nobody asked if Harry married Meghan out of love. But there is a discussion, there is a conversation if Meghan married Harry out of love or just to acquire the wealth and to have the title of a princess. So there are so many conversations that are going in. And so really, we are just using this case study of Meghan to bring back to our work as we talk about racism. We have a lot of women who are trapped in such marriages. We have a lot of people, black people, who are trapped in such structures, structures like the lawyers. And we are hoping that with our talk, we are going to liberate some people, that we are going to earn more of what Meghan has earned to make most of us free ourselves from this modern day slavery in the name of being famous or being prominent. As social workers, when we hear stories like this, of course, what comes into our mind are some of our clients that we're taking care of that come and tell us stories. We are talking as social workers when colleagues who are working in some institutions, white dominated institutions, come and tell narratives of what they are going through in these institutions. We are experiencing these things every day. Where we go, sometimes we find ourselves, sometimes I go in places and I'm the only black woman or a black person, talk less of black woman. So I know what it means to sit in a meeting with 500 people and you are the only black person. That means everything you are doing, you are being observed. Everything is being scrutinized. Even when you're working in a counseling center, when you leave your office, somebody comes in to control if you're really doing the real work. So these are the reasons why we are bringing in this topic today, so that we can create awareness for people that are trapped, and also for those that are trapping people. Maybe when we give an example with the royal, it will really make more sense, because we've been talking. Our voices are getting lost because of talking about racism. We are talking about this serious problem that is causing a lot of trauma, that is making people being depressed, that is making people live in anxiety, like Meghan narrated. We have to hear conversations like, was she genuine or not genuine? The story she sent, the interview she did, she faked tears. We have so many people that are being reduced to faking tears when they talk of racism in their institutions. We have many of us, when we bring such topics wherever we work, we are told that we are becoming oversensitive. So we are here today to say it's not being oversensitive. It's just about gathering a lot of courage to come out in the public and to talk about this topic. We need to appreciate Meghan because she has spoken for other Black women elsewhere in the world. She has spoken on behalf of women who are trapped in marriages that are not functioning. But because you need that title, because you have to keep, because of the children, you have to stay in an abusive marriage. We're talking about different people who are undergoing different kinds of racism and discrimination. And we are hoping that as social workers, now that we have touched on this topic, that it's going to encourage somebody out there to come out and share their experiences and get help. This is it.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, tell us a little more about your work, the work of the Pamoja Awareness Concept Against Racism, how it can help the people precisely from the empowerment perspective as well as the allying perspective.
1 second, I have to put my phone down, please.
Okay, while she's putting down her phone, I welcome you all, ladies and gentlemen, for joining the conversation today. And we have been observing the conversation, the interview that took place between Oprah and Harry and Meghan. And what baffled us was actually the question of the color of the skin of the baby. And of course, that would have determined if he would be a prince or not. And when, of course, they discovered that he's going to be a prince, I'm sure they were so afraid that he's going to have my kind of dark skin. I don't really know what made them to really bother on such kind of conversation. But these conversations were racial conversations. And because of these racial conversations, we could see, and we come from the perspective of anti-racism to say, hey, these are the things that many other people suffer. I'm sure you have maybe suffered in one way or the other, also from school, at your job site. I know someone who told me they even called him a slave at the job site, even though smiling, but it is not a good one. So leave your comments below. Let us also hear, have you ever experienced such things before? How did you overcome your own kind, your own form of racism? There are different kinds of racism, different forms of discrimination. What was yours? How did you overcome? Leave your comment below. Once more, thank you very much for joining the conversation. Make sure you share the link with your friend. We are here because you are there. And please subscribe to all our programs, to the Sompon Global TV, as well as to the Sompon Social Service page, so that you continue to get information from us. Ma'am, you're back. So tell us more about the concept of awareness against racism, and especially from the perspective of empowerment, safe spacing, and the alliance winning people to do this work and to fight it together. If Meghan would make use of this.
Yes. First of all, is to introduce our awareness concept, which is a concept that we have written, a concept that provides or that talks about people's attitude in tackling matters of racism and discrimination. And what is awareness to start with? Awareness is creating actually consciousness. You know, you make people be aware. You create awareness. You inform people. You make people be self-conscious of some certain ways. And these ways is of their actions and their attitudes towards people who face racism and discrimination in every day. What this means to them, what it means to their families, what it means in 20 years, what it means to their grandchildren, what it means for the country, for the society we live in. This is what it is. And when can you, when as a white person, how can you use those privileges that you have along with the fact that you're white to act as an ally, you know, to work as an alliance, to create alliance, and to support people, to use your privileges to support those that are facing racism and discrimination. I can give an example. I worked in an institution, in a church institution here in Germany for 14 years. And at that time, I can't say that I faced a lot of racism. I do remember I used to be ordered to come dressed African for them to take pictures and show that they're having migrants in their organizations. I did this for some years until one day I started questioning, why is it that I'm the only person who is being told, come dressed with your African attire, with your African-like dress, with your beans for this photo? So there are so many people that are going through such things till today. That is one. And number two is, when you know what awareness is and you adapt this concept, what are you doing to support people? How can you use those privileges where you work? How can you use those privileges in your family if it is a bilateral family? What consciousness do you need to know? How do you even realize that what you are doing is not right? In our concept, we talk about white people, which we recommend that white people should go through trainings about critical white awareness. They should learn more about the powers that they have given themselves because they are white and they are the authors and they are the origin of racism. They created it during colonialism and slavery time. So these are some of the conversations or some of the things that we are discussing in awareness, and we are giving recommendations to everyone to try to know what is this awareness. There is a part for the white people, there is a part for those people that are always facing racism and discrimination. Also for people like me, Black, Indigenous, persons of color, people of African descent, we recommend empowerment. In empowerment, we talk about having safe spaces so that you can be with like-minded people who have gone through the same experiences like you, so that you can empower each other. You can together strategize, because it's better to go to fight it in a group than to fight it alone. So when you join a safe space or an empowerment space, you're going to get some new skills how to tackle this problem of racism. You're going to empower yourself. You're going to know about self-care, about self-healing. You're going to re-educate yourself, because we have also people who are also using this, who have also gone through, who have internalized this, internalized racism, and have meant to believe that racism is not racism, or also do some acts of racism because they have adopted racism to be a norm. So there are so many things that we are recommending in our empowerment for the white people, for the people who face racism, and for institutions. Our institutions can also try to use to be sensitive of what they are doing to the employees. Is it an institution that is only having white people? In this country, in Germany, that we are living today, that you are only employing white people, then there is something seriously wrong with your institution. And unless we start tackling and talking about having conversations about how to overcome racism, there is a long way to go. And maybe my last point to this question is, in the empowerment spaces, we are busy telling Black, Indigenous people of color that it is not only their primary duty to teach white people about racism.
It is not our primary duty to teach people, and the white people especially, about racism. They caused the racism. They know the structures they put in place. It is our own place to heal from the trauma that has been put upon us. Ma'am, you spoke about empowerment and you spoke about safe spaces. What is that precisely, and how does a safe space function? If Meghan would listen to us, or we want to offer a program for Meghan, which one would it be?
First of all, I can say that Meghan choosing to talk to Oprah was already empowerment. For her to come in a safe space with nothing except people who are important. She valued Oprah. She felt safe to speak to Oprah. And we remember we learned that also Oprah attended our wedding. So there is a connection between her and Oprah. And the fact that she talked about it, it came out of her. I believe that she has had numerous talks with Oprah before, or with also other people who have gone through racism before she came to the public to talk about racism. So she must have empowered herself before coming out openly. Because it takes grace for Meghan to say what she said. In fact, it was breaking news. And it was so beautiful, so romantic to see also Harry support and stand by her, just next to her, and say those conversations were talked about. There were conversations about how dark Archie can be. You know, so it was so wonderful. So we can say Ali was an ally. Ali used his privileges as a royal to go with Meghan. He used his privileges to talk and say, in my family, there is racism. And I'm very hopeful that something will happen in that royal palace, because these two young people have started a serious conversation. Already, we have already heard that Queen Elizabeth says that she's taking this matter very serious, and she has already ordered for more information to be sent about those, I don't want to call them allegations, about the truth that Meghan talked about her experiences. And this is really wonderful. Harry was used his privileges, and that's why we are telling a white person or a privileged person watching there today, you have a lot of privileges, even if it is because of your name, you can call and help somebody and get accommodation. Use those privileges. Be calling and making appointment for people. If you have your resident permit and there's somebody who cannot do this and this, help them do these kind of things. Use the privileges that you have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Time is always not on our side, but I have a few questions before we continue. Now we are taking from the royal, and now we are coming to normal human beings, you and myself. And any programs ahead of us, ma'am, so that those who are here, they can also maybe profit from the programs, not only the programs for Meghan and Harry being alliance or having safe spaces, any other programs for our people here in the community to help them overcome racism?
Oh, yes, we're having a numerous programs. Today, we end a wonderful session about awareness in digital realm, because there is a lot of online violence that is going on. So we end this program. Tomorrow, we're having a wonderful talk conducted by Dr. Jerry Kremer and Ruth Wamboi Kamande. And all these are offers from Pamoja Africa. On Thursday, we are also having another one, and on Friday and over the weekend. And the climax is going to be on Sunday afternoon at around 3 p.m., where we are going to Vera is going to summarize everything that has taken place from Monday to Sunday. And there is also going to be a lot of music and a lot of talks and questions and answers. Also, we are having safe spaces for children every end of the month. On the 27th of this month, every last Saturday of the month, Afro Social Workers is having a safe space for children and talking about racism. We are also having Afro Social Workers Forum, that is a forum for African social workers in Germany, that is offering like supervision, or like it's just a safe room for them to talk about the experiences in the institutions that they work. So we are having every week, we have every Tuesday, we have our talk show on the Facebook talking about the different topics that are very relevant to people of African descent. Every Thursday, there's always an anti-racism talk also on the same platform. So every Sunday, we are having our business conversation and how you can make in business as a Black person. Every Monday, there is a talk about the Africa we want in 2063. So we're having a lot of empowerment things going on. We're having awareness training that is going on, recruiting those that want to be involved in awareness against racism here in Cologne. So there's recruiting and there's a course going on. So we have a lot of offers going on at the moment, and don't try to take advantage of this time and educate yourself with something. Thank you.
Trying to educate yourself, because at the end of the day, the only thing that remains is the education. And of course, we want to not only educate ourselves, we want to decolonize ourselves from the untruth things that we have learned to the truth that we have learned. Ma'am, tell us more about the coming program, the awareness Begleitung program, a program that we have created to our Pamoja Africa FAO has created so that people can become really, really licensed to accompany people on areas of racism, and this they can also earn some money in it. And this is a good thing for those who want to also have some passive income and who are fascinated to also know, to want to talk about racism, teach other people, empower themselves, and empower the community. Tell us more about this program. It began last week with amazing results. So maybe the next time is coming. But tell us more about this program and how people could maybe register again for the next one coming in another 6 months.
So Pamoja Africa Academy, together with other organizations, started we started a training program to be awareness person and to be awareness team. And this is going to take place. It started last week, but it's never too late to join. And it's going to go until end of May. It's a crash course for people already who are activists. It is not for any beginner. So if you don't know anything about racism, if you have not been digging deep to know what racism and discrimination is, please don't apply. First of all, know what racism is, and then you can be now retrained to be an awareness person so that you can join the team of Pamoja. And what happens is we are always booked to be in charge of programs or to be in charge of things going on online, things being posted. And it is also, as Vera said, it's a way of fulfilling yourself. You're working, you're doing a wonderful job in the society, you are being paid for it, and you are developing and you're being even empowered to how to cope with racism if you're a person of color. And also, if you're a white person, you are being trained to be an ally so that you can know how to use your privileges to be helping those that are faced with racism. So we have about 24 people that started last week. And because of public demand, we are going to do a second class. So if you're interested, please enroll and you're going to get information on what work you need to do. So if you need to enroll, you just need to go to our homepage or send us an email, info@pamojaafrica.org, or you just check Pamoja Africa on Google, or you send us a message on Facebook, and we are going to answer you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So, for those who are interested in this program, it is an amazing one. Just get in touch with us on Pamoja, africapamoja.org on web pages, and of course you can also write to us and you will get more information. You can also check Batimona Abeke on Facebook, or again myself, Vera Sompon, and you can get direct in touch with us and we can have this conversation rolling. Thank you very much, ma'am, also for taking your time for such a conversation. This week people are talking about the International Day or Against Racism for Racism, which is going to be on the 21st of March. And the whole of this week, even your organization, you have been organizing programs to create more awareness on the subject of racism. What does this day mean to you as a trauma person, trauma consultant? International Day Against Racism. Why this day, and what does that mean to you as a trauma patient, trauma consultant, please?
In fact, personally, I feel that every day should be an international day against racism and
Please a
discrimination.
little louder. I can't get you.
Personally, I feel that
Okay,
every day should be
better.
an international day against racism and discrimination. However, if we need to appreciate this day that has been, it's actually not a day, it's a whole week, actually 2 weeks, starting from Monday till the end of next week, where different organizations, different institutions are exposing racism, are talking about what measures need to be taken place, reminding what has happened in the past and the current, and trying to compare if there is any changes, and of course calling for an end to racism and discrimination, and putting a lot of pressure on government institutions, especially here in Germany, to take this matter serious and give a concept how they want to end this structural racism and racial profiling that is taking place with the police in Germany. Now, different institutions are doing this, but also activists or people who are affected by racism are taking this chance to show their companies and their organizations and what they do. As a trauma consultant, it's a very difficult time because this is where the talk of racism is everywhere. And those that have been faced with racism, of course, are being triggered because some of the things that are being addressed, um, it's reminding people of what they have gone through. So it's a time where there is a lot of tension, there is a lot of anxiety among those that have ever faced racism. And our job is there to offer self care, which is also the intention of bringing this program today, calling on those that are going through racism in the families or in institutions, and they are trapped and they are not able to come out and seek help, so that we can tell them, we are with you. Hey, here we are. Get in touch with us, Afro Social Workers Forum, and we are going to join you to battle this problem that is facing you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And I've put on the link below info@pamojaafrica.org if you are interested to be an ally. So that would mean you're a white person and you're interested in the conversation of critical whiteness. Think about your own white privileges. Then please get in touch with us so you'll be an ally for this work we are doing. And if you are also an activist or someone who is really already in the conversation of racism, then also get in touch with us if you want to also do that as a job or do that as a part-time hobby, but also at times get some passive income. So get in touch with us using info@pamojaafrica.org. Thank you very much. And ma'am, we're almost rounding up, and I want you to address Megan now, and using this as a form to address the whole everyone that has gone through racism. I like what you said before. You said if someone says I've gone through racism, you don't question. It is not your place to question if it was true or not true. It's not your place to question if the experiences that I have made are true. It is just your place to give me the safe space that I need to be able not to get into that kind of conversations again, and not your place to ask if my emotions to that and the experiences I have made are true. Now you're talking to Megan, and we may even send this into Oprah, who opened this conversation too, because it's always important to recognize the people that are doing an amazing job. And I think that this was, if Oprah did not come up with this conversation, we would have not even known that. Of course, we know that England is so involved in colonialism and that they got rich because of the colonial wealth. But to think that they will disown their own prince, take away the title from him because he's black, That we did not know. So now I want you to address, as we're rounding up, Meghan, and tell her some words of encouragement. And of course, these also are the words for every other woman in power that is going through a lot of racism.
Yeah. So thank you very much. I'm going to address maybe three people. I'm going to address Meghan. I'm going to address Harry. I'm going to address Oprah, and I'm going to address African countries that are part of the Commonwealth. Now I'm going to start with the Queen, which is my Queen, Meghan. Thank you very much, Meghan, wherever you are. And there are a lot of Meghans in the world. Thank you for taking this step of faith. Thank you for coming out of this den of lions. Thank you for valuing your life. Thank you for taking this step to get out of this palace, to go out to a safe room. You are a role model to many Black women. Thank you for protecting your baby Archie by refusing him to remain in this family so that he does not go under depression or go through what the father Harry has gone through. Thank you very much. And I know that you're going to make your life better than it is now. So, Oprah, I want to address you as a colleague. You exposed, you are an ally. You are a safe space for Meghan. That's why she could come to you. I want to use you as a point of contact to all other Black women who are so bold to come out in the public and conduct an important talk, such a composed talk, because you are a safe space. And thank you for being around Harry and Meghan and baby Archie. Now I'm talking to you, Prince Harry. Prince Harry, you've taken a step of faith. What you have done shows that you're really, really, really a caring husband and a father, and that you put your family first. By your family, I mean your wife and child. We want to use you also as a point of contact to other fathers out there, to other husbands who are not supportive of their wives, so that they can learn from your experience and from your step of faith. Thank you very much. You are in US, you are away from your country, but you don't need to be around your country, around the Paris, for you to feel fine. As you have believed in yourself, you're going to make it in life. And I know there are a lot of fathers out there that are also standing or that are going to stand by their partners and listen to them and take them serious and not question their worries. Now, I'm talking about my fellow African countries that are members of the Commonwealth. When these conversations were going on, it pained me to see all these presidents and all these people around the palace. And you know, this is a colonialism. You are still paying money to UK. The sweat of our ancestors are the ones that have constructed that country. Yet, we are still dragging behind and paying to be a member of Commonwealth. Let our presidents, let our leaders think twice what it means to be in Commonwealth. Let us give ourselves also, let's give also conditions and sanctions and not to continue with this new form of colonialism. So these are the things, these are the ones that I've arranged today. And to the Queen, you are a matriarch, and a matriarch takes care of everyone. We have a lot of matriarchs that are not taking care of their family. In fact, if the Queen wanted to protect Meghan, she won't. And the Queen can still protect Meghan if she wants. The Queen can make it happen that Harry and Meghan goes back home, and that this baby Archie leads a normal life. But they had to take this step they took because there was no protection. Now, before we could say they never said the truth, now they have come out openly. For me, as a trauma expert, I think their speaking out is seeking to be heard. telling stories, because there is a pattern that was happening. Lady D was killed. Meghan is facing almost depression, almost thinking of taking his life. There is a pattern that is happening. Queen, as a matriarch, take action. It's never too late. And now, my people who are in these situations of everyone, let's learn from this Meghan and Harry matter and do something to our lives. No risk, no glory. Meghan took risk and took boarded a plane and went back to the US. Please do the same. Do the needful. Thank you very much for
Thank you
having
very much, ma'am.
me today.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for always speaking so eloquently. And thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for joining the conversation today. Today, we had this conversation because we are also working on this International Week Against Racism, and we followed the conversation with Oprah and, of course, Harry and Meghan, and we saw a lot of strength, power. And so we thought that using their case would be also an eye opening to you all and to us all. Do not die in silence. We offer you safe spaces. If you have any issues with racism and discrimination, do not hesitate to get in touch with us because we are your safe space. Just like Oprah was a safe space to Meghan. So do not hesitate. And of course, we also have allies. We will give you the support that you need. Until we meet next time on Thursday, is another conversation. Please share the link, subscribe to all our programs because then you want to get just the best information to grow, to be inspired, and to be transformed, and of course, to be the change you are looking up and you want to be. God bless you and take good care of yourself.